guys, I have been getting so many questions about homeschooling since we started or since we announced that we were doing this. I just figured, I've answered them here and there, but I figured it'd be way easier to just collect them, write them all down, and do one video answering all these questions that I keep getting. So that's what today's gonna be, a Q&A. If you hear my children in the background, I apologize. Mom life, you get it. So let's get started. Okay, these are in no particular order, so they may even be like not in the best order. I just literally have them written down in my notes, and as I got them, I would write them down so I didn't forget them. So, and if you guys, if there's anything I don't answer for you, feel free to comment below asking a question and I'll answer that for you as well. Okay, the first one I get a lot is, were you a teacher before deciding to homeschool? No. If anything, I have always said I could never be a teacher. I love my children, but I am so afraid that I would lose all patience during the day dealing with a bunch of other people's children that I would have no more left for mine when I got back home. So, no, I never could be a teacher. Homeschooling is way different, in my opinion, than being a teacher. They're your own kids. It's just, for me, it's just two children. So no, I was definitely not a teacher before deciding to homeschool. Okay, this next question is one that I get asked all the time, and it's, why did you decide to homeschool? This may be a lengthy answer. The reason we started our research into homeschooling was safety. That wasn't enough for me to decide for sure we were doing homeschooling, because you can't live in a bubble. Like, I get that. You know what I mean? Life happens, bad things happen. You can't let that terrify you and live in a bubble. But that's what prompted our research. And from there, the things I learned is, the idea of homeschool terrified me before I did research. And I kept thinking, when I do my research, it's just gonna confirm what I'm already thinking, and we're not gonna do it. But the exact opposite happened. It just felt more and more right the more I found out about it. Some of the things we found out that made my decision easy about doing it was the freedom. I can do it whatever time, like it doesn't matter what time of day, we can start when we can, whenever we want to. The curriculum freedom. I can teach them what I want to teach them. Obviously they need to learn math and language arts and science, the basics, but I can choose to teach them the curriculum I want to teach them. Because now that may be different for you depending on the state. There are different rules and laws per state. In Florida, there's no regulation, like you don't have to teach them a certain curriculum. You get to choose that. The only law here in Florida is basically you have to officially withdraw them. You have to write a letter of intention, state to the school board stating that you are going to homeschool. And then you need to get a yearly evaluation done by a certified teacher to show them your portfolio, just showing them like what they've been doing all year. Basically, they just sign it off saying, yes, they're doing good. You send it in the school board, you're done for the year. But anyway, the freedom was a big thing. We had some issues. There was a few issues at the school last year. I'm not going to go into major detail about it. But those kind of helped my decision too. And my daughter also, she has always struggled with reading. So I knew this was going to be a positive thing for her. I could help her and focus just with her, the one-on-one, to help her even more with her reading, to get her where she needs to be or even above. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of it. If one of my kids needs to be sped up because they're bored with what they're doing, I can speed it up and move them ahead. Or the opposite, if they need to slow down and master something before we move on, I can do that. There's not 20 other kids in the room that a teacher needs to worry about, you know what I mean? And they have to stay on it long, move on or stay, whatever. It's done by them and them only and what they need. And that's what I love about it. Next question, how did you choose your curriculum to use? Research, like freaking crazy. I did so much research, and I actually had a batch of curriculum that I already started buying like at the beginning of summer. Then I did more research and found The Good and the Beautiful and a few other ones, and I was like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. I'm going to sell this and we're going to buy this because it just felt right. I wanted something simple. This is our first year homeschooling. I did not want to overwhelm myself One of the main reasons I liked The Good and the Beautiful for language arts was a lot of the language arts curriculum I found was split up. There was a certain curriculum for phonics, a certain curriculum for reading, a certain one for spelling. And it was all these books for one subject, and it stressed me out, it overwhelmed me, and I hated that feeling. The Good and the Beautiful is one book. It puts it all together, so you don't have to teach each one. Like, you are teaching each one, obviously, but it's all meshed together and written out for you. It's an open and go type thing. You don't have not a lot of prep work or anything. You literally just open, read, and go and teach. So it's very simple, and that was one of the main things I looked for, is simplicity. Also, obviously, I wanted good reviews stating that, you know, I wanted to know they were going to learn what they needed to learn. So that's a lot of how I went about that. I started my research on confessionsofahomeschooler.com, and I'll put her link below for you. I started there and got a lot of my info from her, and then I kind of just did my own research from there, if that makes sense. YouTube videos, Pinterest, tons of research. Okay, the next one is asking about the legal side of it. I kind of touched on that earlier, but I'll go back over it real quick. It is different for every state. You can look up, I'll link some websites below for you guys to look up what yours is for your state. There's a few different ones. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the name. But I'll link them below for you guys. As far as the state of Florida, the only thing I'm required legally to do is withdraw them from school. I need to write a letter of intention to the superintendent stating that I am going to homeschool them. And then they can take like state mandated tests and stuff, but it's not required. Instead, I'm doing the certified teacher evaluations every year, and I just have to keep a portfolio of their samples of their work throughout the year, showing what they've done and how they've grown. The teacher looks at that, signs a piece of paper, I mail it in, we're done for the year. So as far as Florida goes, it's pretty simple. There are some states where you have to teach a certain curriculum, and there's lots of rules and regulations. Like, I don't even have to keep attendance, really. So for Florida, we get it pretty easy, but I'll leave some links below for you guys to check out the laws and stuff for your state. Okay, next question. Do I need a homeschool room to homeschool? No, absolutely not. There are a lot of people that homeschool from their dining room, their living room, wherever they feel like homeschooling. I am very OCD and organized, and it was the idea of having all my homeschool stuff out in our living space stressed me out. And we happened to have this extra room, so we did it. If we hadn't had this extra room, I would have made it work in the dining room. But we did, so I used it. But you do not whatsoever need a specific homeschool room to homeschool at all. How long do we spend each day on school? Depends on the attitudes and how long, because I've always stated to my kids, like, we have this much, this is what you're doing today. If you get bad attitudes and draw it out, it's going to be drawn out. Like, you're going to get it done regardless. And that usually helps on the attitudes because they realize they're not getting out of stuff. On an average day, though, it's about 3 hours for both kids. And that is Bible, language arts, history, math, and handwriting. For history and science, I'm switching off, like, doing unit studies. So we'll do, in about 6-7 weeks, we'll do science instead of history. We'll switch off, but it's about 3 hours. What were my worries about homeschooling, and am I still worried about that? A few of my worries were, am I going to screw up my kids' education? Am I going to screw them up? I'm not so much worried about that. After doing my research, I'm really not. I mean, as far as they get evaluated every year, so that'll kind of give me peace of mind, I think, when they get evaluated on whether or not I'm doing okay. Not to mention, I'm going to see throughout the year. This is our first week, and I've already seen a few times of them getting something, and it is the best feeling in the world. So I'm really not so much worried about that anymore. Another one of my worries was as far as, like, being social and being around their friends. They wouldn't see them in school anymore. Not so much worried about that anymore either, because I let them sign up for 2 sports each. Well, my daughter's taking 2 dance classes instead of 1, and my son's doing soccer and flag football this season. So we'll see how that goes. I might go insane doing that much, but I wanted to give them the opportunity to be around their friends as much as possible since they weren't going to see them in school. So I think you just have to get out and get around people. You just have to kind of make yourself do that, and they'll be fine. I mean, I'm too social of a person to not do that, so I think we'll be good on that front. What curriculum and why? I do have a whole video on what curriculum I chose, and I kind of touch on why I liked it and stuff. I'll link that below, but just to go over it really quick, for language arts, science, handwriting, I'm using the good and the beautiful, and I touched on earlier how simple it is, and that's why I like that. And it's also Christian based. That's another reason. For math, my daughter's doing teaching textbooks. It's all online, and she loves that independent, like being able to kind of have time away from me. She puts headphones on, she just sits on the computer and does it. Gives her that time alone. And so far I've watched her do it a couple times. I really like it. And she seems to like it, so that's even more important. My son's doing Horizons for math because he's not old enough yet to do the teaching textbooks. It only starts at Math 3, so he's not quite old enough yet to do that. And I like the Horizons. It's also Christian based, so I like that a lot. And then for history, we're using Road Trip USA by Confessions of a Homeschooler. It's something she made up. And I love how simply it's laid out. Basically, if you haven't noticed, the word simple is coming up a lot. I wanted something simply laid out for me, especially for my first year. Other years I might get braver, but I just really wanted that. So simplicity and Christian based. And then good reviews too. Those are my whys really on why I chose these. So yeah, I'll leave links to all the curriculum that I use and my video on the curriculum I use down below for you guys. Okay, our homeschool schedule. We don't have a set schedule as in like 9 a.m. we do this, 10 a.m. we do this, 10:30 we do this. We start about 9 a.m. every morning. The kids like to do language arts first, so that's usually what we do first. Whenever we're done with it, we move on. Like whenever we're done with the next thing, we move on. That's how we do it. If they need a break for a snack, we take a break for a snack. I don't do a set schedule because the thought of setting one and then not being able to stick to it, which is what probably would have happened, stresses me out more than not setting a specific schedule. So we didn't set a specific schedule, but we usually do language arts. Handwriting gets fit in there in case I need like some time with my daughter so my son can do his handwriting since it's independent work. So that kind of gets thrown in there with that. Then we usually take a break for snack. We do math, then we do history, and then we do Bible at the very end. That seems to work better for them, so that's what we do. Do I plan to teach every subject every day? No. Math, language arts, handwriting, and Bible will be done every day. History will be done about twice a day. When we switch to science for like the unit studies, it'll also be done twice a week. It'll be done twice a week, 2 to 3 times a week, depending on the week. Some weeks we do 4 days, some weeks we do 5 days. So it's a 5-day week, we'll do 3. So it's really just every other day that we'll do history or science. Are the kids in extracurricular activities? Yes. My son is in sports. He's in soccer and flag football. And then in the spring, he does t-ball. My daughter does 2 dance classes. So how do I feel about co-ops? I have not done my research enough on co-ops to give a good answer on this, an educated answer on this. From what I do know, it's where homeschool parents get together and can kind of teach different subjects together, is from what I gathered. I'm not against them. I don't know that I would join any right now because we're kind of busy already. So I don't know. We'll have to see as the years go by if we end up joining one or not. But sorry, I couldn't give you a better answer on that one. How do you keep your kids motivated to learn at home? I'm still struggling with that one. I have days where my kids get their stuff done and it's great. I have days where I argue with them and they have attitudes. So I'm still struggling with that one. And it's different for each kid. My son thinks a lot more like me. So it's a little easier to get him to do stuff because it's how I think. My daughter is my husband, like through and through. The way she thinks about school, she just gets this notion like, what's the point in this? I don't need to know this. Why are we doing this? Well, one thing I have done is she has told me she wants to be a dolphin trainer. She's wanted to since she first saw a dolphin show at SeaWorld. Now, whether she'll stick with that or not, I don't know. But I'm going to encourage that for her. And I try to tell her, like, if you want to do this when you grow up, you have to do this first. It's just a part of it. Whether you think there's a point to it or not, you have to get this done first. because I'm not going to lie to them and tell them they're going to use everything when they get older, because I was lied to about that in school, and they're not. It's just the fact of life. Like some of this stuff you just have to learn to get to the next step and the next step and the next step so you can do what you want to do when you get older. So that's one way I try to keep them motivated. Okay, the last question I get a lot is what planner I am using. I am using the Erin Condren Teacher Planner. I love this planner so much. There are parts of it I haven't figured out how I'm going to use yet, but I do love this planner so much. It is kind of pricey. I think it was like $55, but they do sales and stuff, and I think I waited till I could get on sale. But this is the planner. This is the inside of this week that we're doing. I don't know if you can see this, but I just have, these are the days of the week. I color code for my kids. So the orange is for my son, the pink is for my daughter, and the blue is for when it's for both of them. And then these are the different subjects we do. If we're not doing a subject for that because it's a unit study, like I'm switching history and science, I'll just put some washi tape here. Like handwriting, we're only doing 4 days a week this week. I have a washi tape here just so I don't forget that and I can clearly see. But this is the planner I use, and I can do a more in-depth look at the planner for you guys later. I kind of want to keep this a little bit shorter. I can do a separate video on the planner showing what I use, like what it is and how I use it, and going through it a little bit. And then I can link that below whenever I get that done for you guys. Okay, that is all the questions I had written down. Again, if you have any questions that I didn't answer already in here, please feel free to comment below and I'll answer them as soon as I see them. So yeah, wish us luck. We're on day 4. It's Thursday. We're on day 4 of our homeschool year, and it's going better than I expected it to the first week, so that's a good sign. Okay, see y'all later.